Do you have the butt facing you? Yeah.
Got my back.
Get that butt lined up.
You got my booty and my crack. Dude, our pod space is almost done.
What do you mean?
Now we got the floor in the office, and we're
gonna do it back there.
We're gonna paint it like
I saw that green on the wall. That looks
not
sick.
that one. There's a better one. Not Kelly green. We want like yellow bile green.
Hell yeah.
So
that's one of our bilious humors. Or what did they used to say that like the 4 substances what we were made up was? Blood,
boogers,
black bile,
cum.
Yellow bile, and maybe cum. Yeah. Dude, I saw something the other day on Instagram. I started following this account called Freakbait, and the videos they make are so good. They're all like post-apocalyptic dystopian shit. It's like 50 years in the future, we will all be sucking our own dicks. It's so good. But they said something like cogito ergo cum. I don't need porn to masturbate. It was like, I think therefore I come. I was like, yes.
I often think about a different reality that we'll get to where we're not working and we get to just pour our energy into art, because obviously working at a YouTube channel, all I do is the same shit over and over again. Get it out, get it out, get it out. But there's some shit that I want to make that has no clickbait vibe, and there is no platform where that would thrive.
Yeah, and does it have to thrive for you to get pleasure out of making it?
No, but I would like it to be sustainable in some sense. Like I would somebody be like, oh, we'll give you money to do this. And then I wouldn't, you know, then we wouldn't have to work. But there was one where I was thinking it was passing this fucking, you've seen all the gentrification that's happening on East Austin. And they don't build like regular houses next to other regular houses. They build megalithic Jiffy Lube cinder block millionaire fortresses
with like 12-foot windows.
Insane. And no one lives in them for long because a robot's designing them. I don't know what's going on. It's fun. I enjoy being alive at this time. But I was passing, it was like a definitely built in the late 60s kind of collapsing sort of home, but it had one of those Realty Austin signs, and Realty Austin's like the bougie premier realty company of Austin. They always post the big Jiffy Lube cinder block houses and whatever. Cold as ice should be their copy.
No charm.
Motto. No, none. And I just thought it'd be funny to film a fake commercial for them in front of this house that clearly is a teardown or whatever, but it's got like the prestige badge, and it starts off with just like this realtor talking about how good the neighborhood is, but it's not. It's right off of airport. There's homeless people taking shits
somebody throws a tomato at the realtor as they're speaking.
You get like a homeless man turd in your face, and there's like that abandoned seafood drive-through that's like right there.
Oh shit, yeah.
And then I just want him to start coughing blood. And I want him to start like getting stomach cancer in like real time and talking, and then he slowly morphs into talks about what's actually happening. And
dude, yes, I feel like I get ideas to make things that are not relevant to anything we currently have going. It's like, I want to be a director, I want to make a movie, I want to shoot film here, I definitely want to get this shot. I don't know what it's going to be a part of, but
dude, every time I look at his name is Hiro Murai. He does like all of Gambino's music videos. He's done Kendrick Lamar videos. He's done Flying Lotus videos. And the shit he does is like, it makes you want to quit everything and start filming.
Like his process, the way he goes about it, or just
I don't know how he goes about it, but his final product is amazing.
Oh, hell yeah.
And the way, he did This Is America music video. It's all one big shot, and it's all really visceral and violent and beautiful and
just like the song.
Yes. And
I have so much admiration for people who can bring their vision into reality.
Well, it's crazy that I used to watch his stuff, Hero's stuff, and be like, I don't know how with cameras, and now that's all that I do.
Yes.
With no degree.
Yeah.
And so to see his stuff and be like, oh, he's just got a $5,000 camera. That's why it looks so, it's just like knowing what he's seen.
Yeah,
it's totally possible.
Yeah. I mean, you're growing your brain and your skill set and your knowledge base every fucking day. And that's so tight. And I hate that thing, fake it till you make it. Because you're not faking anything. You're just doing it like dick forward. You're just like figuring it out, right?
Well, the moments that I have told my boss, like, I don't know.
Oh, not even gonna try.
He's like, figure it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. That's what everyone, that's kind of along the same lines of fake it till you make it.
Right.
Got it.
Well, it's like, I feel like it's better to say just like give it a shot.
Yeah.
Like take your best shot. Like you're not going to do something stupid. You're not going to do something dumb or like bad. I don't know. Like your first shot is your first shot. It's going to be whatever it is, and it's usually good.
Well, it's like a different way to say that. It's like whip your dick out and flop it until it's hard. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that is more succinct.
That should be our new shirt slogan.
I feel like that's a quality that I picked up from you. Just like going on YouTube and typing in what I'm having trouble with,
and then it's there,
and then someone's there telling me how to do it, and then I can do it.
What's the biggest thing you've learned, or like what was the video where you're like, oh?
A lot of stuff in Premiere. That video you sent with the Q and K, like that's crazy. I tried to watch a video to replace my headlight, and I tried to do that, but I could not penetrate the dark forces of my under the hood.
What's funny is that video editors have cornered the market on YouTube because they're producing really good videos.
Exactly. Yeah.
That are really in-depth and they make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And also a car is way different than video editing.
It's
platform.
true. What else have I looked up on YouTube? My brain is mostly empty today.
Do you want to tell the sweet folks why your brain is empty?
I went to bar trivia last night. We got second place.
Oh, what did you get? A drink card or something?
Yeah.
Free shots at Jameson?
I think we got a gift certificate to the bar. It was at Gourmands. And so I had a beer cheese bread bowl too.
Beer cheese bread bowl?
Broccoli, beer cheese soup in a bread bowl.
Every dish that your food comes on should be edible.
A breadable. Can I get that in a breadable? What if somebody thought bread bowl was breadable and they just said it wrong their whole life?
Oh my god, my ear went deaf when you said that, and I'm like, is your dad thinking that that's hilarious or something?
Yeah, I wore the pants, my like light colored corduroy pants I wore yesterday, and I remember when I first got them, I had a dream, and my dad was there in the dream, and he was like, I really like those pants.
Your dad pants?
Yeah, they're like what he wore when he was like 16 or whatever.
Cute.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I am him, and I feel like that's my sort of lazy, goofy, all I want to do is like read sci-fi thing. Like, let me have some snacks.
Yeah.
let me
a snack, I'm suddenly pulled in your direction.
But yeah, Papa, he be up in the moon. I still say hi to him up there.
Should we recap? Should we tell this is where I want people to pay for the content, because like this is a juicy ass ghost story. The shit that happened yesterday.
With what?
When I was eating and you and I were texting about the songs that were coming on.
Damn. Yeah. Fuck. That, I'm really sorry my brain is impaired. I drank a lot of beer and then drank some shots of whiskey.
And how many glasses of water did you have?
Maybe half of one.
Yeah.
It's just such a dumb, like, I'm 33 years old.
I just can't do that. I can't drink like that. I can't have a hangover. I get so sick.
This is why I don't go out though. Like, I'm not trying to blame other people, but I'm just so like easygoing and susceptible
that
to whatever everybody else is doing.
Straight whiskey.
Oh, like, oh, are you bringing a shot to me right now? Well, I guess I don't want to be a party pooper. And then you just forget everything that happens after that.
Yeah, even Lucas and I went on a date, and I'm just like, one cocktail, one glass of wine. But I, as like a professional partier, as a bartender for so long, that you just know how to at least get to the breakfast spot at 4 a.m. You know? So,
Yeah.
And then you can wake up and feel good enough to find a cheeseburger and like.
But you're just fucking brilliant. I know that I should focus and like think about what's going on, but I just like, this is the movement that I do when I'm out. I'm just like, yeah, whatever's going on.
It's a fucking ebb and flow.
I'm there. I'll be there. But I just took 3 ibuprofen.
Do you feel better?
It's starting to lift, I think. What's up?
You got to take that shit before you go to bed. If you're drunk. If you're sober enough to...
I don't remember falling asleep.
Yeah. Oof. I don't know how you do that. That makes me cringe in pain.
That's why I don't drink a lot, because it's very easy for my memory to be wiped.
Oof. I can recap the Juicy Ghost story.
Please do. I'll add little filigree wherever I can remember.
There's so much to say, but it's a podcast, so get
You're
ready.
You're here to
I'm about
fucking
to say
listen.
It. I have been saying hello to the land. Did I talk about that on the last podcast?
Yes.
As a geomantic?
That's like the last part of the title,
okay.
Geomantic experiences.
That has been altering a lot, and it's really cool. You can kind of feel the quantum vibratory essence of the land, and you can feel the trees breathe a little bit heavier, and there's definitely more of a connection. And the office that I work at is like maybe 5 yards from a Masonic cemetery. Just says Masonic cemetery really big. But we need to go in there. I was like, my people. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you didn't like women in the Masons, so fuck you.
Fuck you.
You ever said fuck you to a Mason corpse? Because now I kind of want to.
Whoa. Ooh. That would be like a shift, a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Fuck you and your stupid dick club for dicks.
Next, on the next Ma Pod, we will be doing a podcast in the cemetery.
Let's do it on the road.
We easily could.
Fuck yeah.
And so there's been a connection happening more. I had an instance, I don't think I told you about this, where I was sitting at my laptop working and somebody flicks my screen. Like you know what that sounds like.
Oh.
And I was like, I was the only one at the office. It was just me.
Huh.
And I'm like, okay. And then my bag just falls over. And I'm like, okay, there's something in here.
Whoa.
And then I heard like another sound off. And I was like, damn, okay. So let's get to that theta state. And you got to like combat all the denial. And it's this and it's that and it's this. It's like, that's never happened before. Anything. Like my laptop's never made that sound. So you got to just really trust your mind's eye. And I pick up this male energy that's like, what the fuck is this place? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like really happy to know that I can. There's always this definitive elation that I can feel, like, oh, hey. I can't see anything yet because I'm focusing so hard on just trying to navigate, sense it. And so he's like, what's this? The fuck is this? You know, and just like super happy and kind of going through. And I kind of had to do the thing. It's like, hey, I'm busy right now. I can't communicate. He's like, no worries. I got to keep going. And like, that was such a cool experience. And I made sure to write it down because I was like, I don't know. That was cool.
That is cool.
Felt something.
I love that it was like super positive energy.
Yeah. And was like, what are these things? Motorcycles? What the fuck? What do you guys do here? You know, just like there was like a super inquisitive, I gotta go, you know, passing by.
Yeah.
Sort of spirit. I'll check in on you later. And then yesterday, so that happened a week ago. Then yesterday, I realized I got sucked in with what normally only happens when you're on LSD. If you're on enough LSD, suddenly you can like see the hints of reality hidden in plain sight. And that has been happening more because I meditate a lot and I'm trying to connect more with what's around me. So now I don't need drugs. I can just like make those connections sober.
Hell yeah.
And it was, well, I'm trying to think of what I should say here. The name of the brewery suddenly, which is a door away from my office that I was going to grab lunch at, was suddenly so prolific in what it meant. And it did, you know, breweries always have, I don't know, silly names or whatever, but this was like, oh,
it struck you.
This struck me. And then that was what pulled me into that brain state that you kind of have to be in to perceive more than what's in front of you. And the second I walk in, this Helmet song comes on, and I just got a Helmet poster that was my dad's, and I never hear Helmet anywhere in public. And they were on my uncle's record label too, so it was like a very like, I got it.
That's huge.
That made, and this brewery's always playing like butt rock. It is a brewery. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the Helmet song finishes, and I brought a notebook for no reason. I usually bring a laptop or nothing. And I'm starting to draw, but I'm feeling funny. And you had texted me about, you were asking me about the blockages that I had in front of my dad, and you were wondering if they were purposefully put there because there's something that I'm not supposed to know about him, or it's protecting me.
Yeah.
Like, don't know this about your dad. Just stay this way. And I was like, that's an interesting point of view. I kind of already know he's a shithead.
Right. Like, what is there to discover?
But then I was texting you about, oh God.
I pulled it up just in case we needed to reference.
I had this big meditation vision about my grandmother, and I was following her bloodline, and it very distinctly stopped. It was a native presence, which I had never thought of before or knew or had ever encountered anything like that. And it was like, no, you don't get to go any further. And I was like, but it's my grandma. I don't know what this means. Like, you know, and just kind of stood there, and then the vision ended. And then I thought maybe they were holding her hostage or there was something, but there was very distinct, I wish there was another word. I'm just going to say essence because I don't know it. There's no booming voice that tells you facts, and I have to trust it, and it's not manifested. So it's an essence, I guess.
Sort of like a weird aberration.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That her dad's bloodline did something evil or sinister to the natives or something. And I was texting you, I was like, you know, she always thought she had native blood in her. And I'm like, maybe she was confused, but still having like a little psychic moment of maybe
it wasn't in her.
It wasn't in her, but it was on her hands.
Yeah.
Very different. And then what did I say? Oh, and then my cousins, we all had similar labors that resulted in emergency C-sections. Mm-hmm. And
we all bore daughters.
And I had a mushroom trip that we were cursed. And I was like, I feel like I kind of let it all out with you. And that kind of brings more of the shit your way. And vibing with you yesterday in real time via text. When you're channeling information and somebody's feeding you, or you're like bouncing off of each other, it makes it a lot stronger versus like wallowing in your own doubt.
Well, when you get to actually volley back and forth, it like grows, and instead of just having your own little echo chamber, it sort of is bolstered by the support of having somebody who's like, oh, well, what if it was this? Or do you feel this? Like, what are you feeling now? Like, that's huge to have that sort of...
It's amazing. Yeah. I was like, I wish at all times like a screen in your eye could pop up like, Megan, listen to this.
What do you got? What do you got for me?
You're just like radio commander, like sitting.
Yeah, hang on one sec. I got something coming in. Okay, yeah, go ahead, sweetheart. What do you got?
What did he say? What do you look like? So then, okay, shit, I lost it.
Okay. So the curse...
the Squirrel Nut Zippers song comes on.
Yeah.
So it goes from Helmet to a Squirrel Nut Zipper song. never have I heard Squirrel and Zippers in public, but it was a band that my mom and dad listened to all the time, and the song was called Hell. And the song is about going to hell, being stuck in hell, burning alive, losing your name. Very and he spells out damnation.
Yeah.
And I am laughing at the table because I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Somebody's in hell.
Someone's in hell, and maybe they're reaching out, or I don't know, there's some entity reaching out. And then you and I are vibing back and forth on that. And I'm laughing, and suddenly I'm picking up on a spirit, a very distinct spirit, who's, once again, extremely excited that I can perceive that they're there. And then the song Pump Up the Jams comes on.
So different from the other ones.
Not Zippers. And I'm like, that's how you're communicating.
I love that they can communicate through music.
Pump Up the Jams. And I'm laughing because it's just, I'm the only one at this brewery. And the bartender keeps trying to talk to me, and I'm like,
shh. I have a lot going on right now.
And I was kind of like drawing more to understand what she was saying, and I wrote it all down. She's like, this is important that we're meeting. I was like, okay. What else? And I couldn't, everything was kind of murky. And the second two that I had noticed, I wrote down, there's a girl presence.
Yeah, when did the girl presence come?
As you and I were talking about the Squirrel Nut Zipper song. And it was as the Pump Up the Jam song came on, and that was another validating thing. Then you get pushed into another plateau of oh my God. The moment I wrote down, there's a girl presence here, thunder clapped. And it was, I rode my motorcycle, it was super bright out, sunny, there was no rain in the forecast, and all of a sudden, boom, it came in. And that is how the first time I talked to my dad was it comes in a storm. Yeah. There's something about storms coming that I'm sure it's you got electromagnetic fields, you got lightning, you got sound, you got water. I mean, I'm sure.
All of that energy just getting ready to release.
Yeah.
That has got to be a conduit for different types of energy.
Yes. And just like a fucking movie, the light above me is surging and flickering, and no other light is. And there's 30 tables in there. I mean, it's a brewery. It's massive.
Yeah.
And I just after that happens, you're in shock a little bit, and you're like, oh, I gotta go edit more YouTube videos. So you're I gotta go make some thumbnails real quick.
Yeah.
It was just a really cool, validating experience.
Yeah. How cool to be, just to bear witness to all of those. It's not a coincidence, obviously, but we often will write them off as coincidences. So your attention and you stringing together the meanings of it is what really revealed it to be the reality that kind of is underneath the one you see.
And that's why it's so easy to be a packing peanut for the Matrix, is when you ignore, dismiss, don't pay attention, get cut off from your culture, get cut off from your ancestors. The more strings are cut, the more you can just be a good little automatron pudding baby.
I don't want to be no pudding baby.
I don't want to be no pudding baby either.
That was such a cool thing to co-experience with you as it was happening. I don't know. I was just sitting at my desk. I probably should have been editing, but I was just I was thinking about Whitney's dad, and I was thinking about how, you tried to contact that radio station where he worked to get maybe some of his recordings, and that was a dead end.
Well, it's so funny, they started archiving the shows the year after
he did his thing.
Yeah.
And then the thing with the hospital where he was born getting demolished. I was just thinking I wonder why she keeps trying to find, she's digging for more stuff about her dad, but she keeps getting chopped off. What is that?
That almost seems part of the curse. A little bit.
It seems to be on the male, the name carrying portion of your family, right? Because traditionally women would take their husband's name. So technically the line the son, there's no sons, and you keep bearing daughters. So I don't know what'll happen if you bear a son. I don't know who he will be.
That's a good point. Yeah, what happens if that's the next
He'll
jammer?
be the Kwisatz Haderach.
What does that mean?
That's from Dune. Pardon me while I geek out. In Dune, there's like the Spacing Guild. They are the ones who like fly the gigantic spaceships, and they are like super doped up on spice. It's the only way they can navigate. So they are sort of an entity, sort of political entity. And then there's also the Bene Gesserit, which are like witches, and they're all women, and they also use the spice to do kind of like, I don't know, just like paranormal type things. And they have like extensive breeding programs where they sort of orchestrate relationships through all of the royal houses, because they're trying to create the Kwisatz Haderach, who will be a male who can look in that place where none of the female Bene Gesserits can look, like see that kernel of knowledge that's so immense and like powerful that no one can look in that direction and see it and like survive. So the Kwisatz Haderach is the male who has that power. And fuck.
I guess I know the name of my next
Kwisatz Haderach. When I was in high school, I had Chucks, just like raggedy little Chucks, and I wrote all over them, with like they were like black, and I put bleach and shit all over them. On one of them, I wrote Kwisatz Haderach, like I'm the Kwisatz Haderach. And on the other one, I wrote Fredro Rackenstein, which was like just a stupid name me and my brother made up. Like, who's Fredro Rackenstein? I don't know, but I don't know, just reminded of my shoes. And I had a hoodie just like this, like with the zipper, and I wore it like every day, so I feel like I'm being transported back there.
Dude, I had Converse too, just like those were ratty. They lasted forever though.
Yeah, I had black ones. I had like these really cool monochromatic all black ones that were high tops, and I think those were like knockoff Chucks though, because I was really into buying like vegan sort of, I don't know, cruelty-free shoes or whatever. I had green Chucks. Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about really cool shit, then I started talking about shoes.
Chuck break.
Kwisatz Haderach though. I mean, I don't want to put too much pressure on your womb. I wish we could just had time for us to meet every day, maybe in the morning, I don't know, where I just read Dune to you.
Could you?
it would be so
live that
good.
far from me.
Or we could FaceTime.
It's always such a big endeavor, which
it's
is
a huge book.
What prevents me from ever diving in. But obviously I saw the movie when I was young and I loved it, and saw the new one and I loved it.
Yeah, I wonder when that next one's coming out. I think it pissed off a lot of people that it came in parts, but like it's such a gigantic Herculean effort to convert the book into a film. And I thought, who directed it? French guy, Denis, I forget. He did a Batman. Anyway,
then there's the king is having an affair, or the queen is having an affair. Somebody, like the main couple, is having an affair, and that leads to or somebody's a.
So the main plot is that the Atreides family, they rule over a planet called Caladan, which is like an ocean world, and they've been there for eons. And the emperor decides that they're gonna take over Arrakis, the desert world. The family that's been ruling over that planet with an iron fist is the Harkonnens, and they basically like have the whole planet enslaved, and because it's the only place where spice comes from, and that's what runs the economy, like all commerce of the universe, and everybody's fucking addicted to it. It's like the Harkonnens have a stranglehold on everything, and the Emperor doesn't like that the Harkonnens have that. So he's kind of chummy with the Atreides, puts them on that planet, but it turns out to be sort of a ruse, and they're like in cahoots to actually kill the Duke Atreides. But I don't know who's having an affair, because the Lady Jessica, she's Bene Gesserit, she's technically not like married.
That's what I'm thinking
to her
of.
Duke. She's his concubine.
That's what I'm thinking of. Concubine, affair,
right.
You know.
Cinnamon concubine. What do we do?
Cinnamon concubine.
I always think of Aaron when we say concubine now. But yeah, so she bears the ducal heir, and then I guess when Paul gets with Chani is his concubine too. And that's why he can marry the Princess Irulan, so that he can become emperor of fucking space. I'm the fucking space emperor.
I'm gonna go murder my dog.
She's chopping off his feet. Oh god. Blood isn't coming out, it's just chocolate pudding? That's so weird. I didn't know he was made of chocolate pudding. I'm starting to feel more alive now that we've talked about Dune and spirit visits and shit. So last time because I just went through our last episode and posted it on your Torb, we gave ourselves a challenge for our next pod, which is we're recording it right now.
About trying to find the spark of the patriarch. And I
always.
I can't believe you that's how I'm like, you are the most precious human and most valuable human ever, is you found that song. I think you said it's Indian classical music or something.
Yeah, I forget what the word, like what it's called, but it's part of Indian classical music. It's like a vocal riff.
Do you remember how you came across that?
I was just trying different keywords in Google search, like woman, Indian, chant.
Oh, okay.
No,
chant is the key word.
But I forget what my specific search was. I found it.
Hey.
Anyways. You have to make love to the mic stand.
I feel like if we would go to India, I would turn around, you would be gone. You'd be covered in like halloumi and like creamed spinach and queen of the classical orchestra.
Dude, yeah, I would love to go there. I think that'd be incredible.
Pulling back our original thought, original sin.
Fucking patriarchy.
Ancient Aliens was talking about, there was a book that they brought up called like, you know, the 7 Kings of Patriarch, and they had listed the year, and I was like, oh, so maybe it's been that way forever.
Well, I did some research.
What'd you find?
And I think like a Medium article, or I don't think it was Bust or Vulture. I forget what it was. I wrote it in my notebook, but guess what I don't have? It was linked with farming. With like when we stopped moving around. That is what this article said. It was sort of just agreeing with what I had like speculated as the reason for patriarchy, because once you have more than you need, then someone is owning it, and that sense of ownership is what put men at the top, because women in their physical bodies, they are they're makers.
They are conduits for brains and spinal cords.
Exactly. And so the men, there started to be more of an emphasis on controlling the woman's body because she's like a person factory, and the men who are in control or who are in control of women need to know that that's their spawn. So like the women can't go around and do whatever they want and fuck whoever they want and have whoever's baby, because that the uterus was also owned and controlled by men.
Because of corn?
Because of all of the work that needed to be done to make the food.
Your babies are dying, and then they're like, make more. We need people to help.
Yeah, they're definitely employed in all of the tasks it takes to farm, and I don't know. I also read an article that sort of was on JSTOR, which is sort of like an academic resource. And I think I only read like the synopsis because I had to like log in or something. But they were postulating that there was farming and like agrarian lifestyle and like accumulation of surplus in like ancient Sumer, but they were still focused on the mother god, and that there was still power with women in sort of social and economic ways. So it's interesting to see, like, for the most part, we have agriculture to thank for the fucking patriarchy. But that also brings me to an email that Birdo sent us. Thank you for watching Mawpod episode 17, Birdo. You're dope. He sent us an article by Jared Diamond that is about, I think the title, I'll paraphrase, it's like, agriculture was the worst mistake humans could have made. Just because it was like, the effects of it, we never knew what the effects would be. And it's sort of just like, I don't know, has gotten out of hand. And now the world is like this. It's like hella polluted. There's so much inequality and injustice. And I think that in this article, I think Jared Diamond wrote a book about this, but the article is just talking about how it didn't have to be like this.
I was thinking about this too while riding my motorcycle, but we naturally put these giant hurdles in front of us where we make a huge infrastructure. Yeah. And that evolves naturally, right? It keeps going. Things get easier. Food gets easier. Suddenly there's grocery stores. Suddenly there's so much food, we're throwing most of it away. Suddenly, it's like,
it's like, at this is working a little too well. And
then how do you change what's beneath your feet? It's suddenly so hard, so expensive, and almost unfathomable how you would alter from the ground up a new system. So it's like, at what point, I was thinking about this with our highway system and how I hate, like, you go to Europe and you can walk everywhere, and obviously it's a lot older and whatever, but you can walk everywhere, walk with your kids, go in and out of stores, go to the grocery store, all by foot. And that, I don't care about, like, let's take the environmental question out of it for everybody to be able to listen without foaming at the mouth. When you got kids, you don't want to fucking shove them in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out of a car.
Yeah.
And I hate that if I go to a strip mall, which is our beautiful architecture, our monolith to society is a nail salon next to a Domino's that's a sandwich in between a veterinary office. It's like,
don't forget the Chinese restaurant.
It's like, so, yeah, it's such a bummer. It's like, oh, that's the legacy we leave behind. Obviously, people own those and they generate income for their family. I get it. But it's like, could we put more thought into it?
I know.
How are we ever going to get over that hump? We're going to knock all this shit down and try to, like, get a bunch of people who aren't expensive to hire to come together and plan a different way to farm, or it's like, it all has to crumble in order for you to, like, have space to build it and have people motivated to want to help to do it. And it's like, yeah, it almost just seems by nature. It's like, this kind of seems useless to try to
Yeah, I feel like that the way to enact change is you just have to get started. And it's like perhaps there are little enclaves of thoughtful communities who are like thinking about a better way to organize society, because it's not fun to drive everywhere and keep the big oil machine still going, but like we wouldn't have any of this shit if we didn't have the Industrial Revolution. And
no, I love thinking that at the end of the Industrial Revolution, 100 and some years later, like we've got patio chairs for days.
Yeah. Well, you can have anything you want.
You
pretty
can
much
have anything you want all the time, and it's great because it gives a lot of opportunity for the lower class.
Yeah, but I feel like there is too much emphasis on the stuff you can get.
Yeah, and how much of it is just
it's just trash.
It's just trash. It's just generating trash. So it is cool to think about. Back in my day, you could buy everything for $10, and you had 12 of them, and if it broke, you just got a new one. And it's like, it's going to sound so outrageously outdated.
When I was in college, when I was in high school, I had dreams of having kids. Like, I wanted to have a kid right then and there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You freak.
Like, drew pictures of myself with, like, a rainbow body and, like, energy radiating and, like, a growing belly. Because my boyfriend in high school, I thought he was the one. We're doing this. Let's go. So that was fun. But I always imagined, like, we would talk about, like, making toys for our kids.
Yeah.
Which is idealistic. And it's like, let's use cloth diapers and stuff like that. But then when you both have careers and you both, like, there's so much going on, there's no time to be so thoughtful.
And if you had a lot of kids, there's no time to do that.
There's no way. But I also remember when I was in college, my first year roommate, I forget what we were talking about, but she was like, just throw it out. Just throw it out. Get rid of it. I'm like, but I don't want to throw it out. I want to use it. I want to make something useful out of it. She's like, just throw it out. Why don't you just throw it out? And that like sticks in my head because we were so oddly matched. She's like from Pennsylvania and doing like business or finance or something. And she thought I was nuts because I don't know, because I wouldn't just throw it out. I guess I just didn't like the ethos of if it doesn't serve the purpose anymore, just throw it away. It's someone else's problem.
I hate that too, just out of the principle. And you're like, but I spent money on this one.
Yeah.
It's not doing the thing that I want it to do.
He just broke his spine on the counter of the corner.
Who did, Lucas?
Yeah. Ow. He was like standing up and the corner went into his back. Ouchie.
He's tough.
He's super tough. Fuck.
Let's drown in stuff together. It's cool driving by the landfill all the time. Really, it's beautiful.
I am fascinated by accumulation of garbage. I like the place where I live is like next to kind of warehousey space, like construction space.
It's a fucking Call of Duty game level over there. It's just I don't know what's going on.
I love riding my bike around and just like
almost getting hit by cars all the time.
It's so raw and I love the energy of it. It's so chaotic. It's just everybody like going about their business and everybody's so nasty. Everybody's business is so nasty and there's just refuse everywhere. And I think about like
could you imagine for one fucking second living? I had to drive a motorcycle for a rental into opulent McMansionville, like packed full of these gigantic houses together, and there's sidewalks and there's lights on every corner.
Yeah.
Could you imagine living in that?
Fuck no. No way. Because my opinion of that is all their garbage is hidden. Like they make way more garbage than all of these other lower income people.
But like psychic garbage.
But their garbage they like make sure no one can see it, you know? They have somebody spirited away.
Well, they pay a company to pretend to recycle it.
Exactly. Like, oh, is this recyclable? It doesn't fucking matter. I don't care.
Like, I get freaked out in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, it feels like a big lie.
I don't want my kids growing up there. I'm like, oh God, someone's gonna skull fuck you the second you're 18. They're gonna show you cocaine.
Because every nasty thing that they do is like hidden. It's like they still are terrible, gross individuals like us, but
let's not make sweeping generalizations about people who live in big houses.
Yeah, you're right. They might be good. I'm
sure there's tons of philanthropic.
You're right. I apologize. I grew up with my mom and dad were both like very anti like rich people. Like they just like a distrust there, which is bullshit because in my family I have someone who worked their ass off to create like an empire and now they are very wealthy, but that was from work.
Oh dude, I had a similar experience. I had a rich boyfriend in high school and I remember feeling that because you grow up fucking poor as shit and you're like, why do you get that, blah blah blah, and I remember saying something so fucking bitchy and so snarky and he turned around and went, because my dad worked really hard for it, and I was like, oh yeah, mine literally inhales his own farts and can't stop fucking eating. Oh, no wonder why he's homeless at 45. It's
yeah. It's so unfair to assume that if somebody has everything they need, that they're shitty.
No.
It sucks because that's the ideal thing. It's like, yeah, we want everybody to have what they need. And it doesn't make you a better person if you've struggled. It makes you, I don't know, maybe more empathetic with struggle. I don't know. Because, like, how do Jay-Z and Beyonce raise their children to be good?
I don't know. You gotta bring them to do volunteer work. You gotta bring them into the city. You gotta ride the bus. You gotta, like, I was telling Lucas this. I was like, I want my kids to be street smart.
Yeah.
That was huge for me. I remember, taking my cousin and my little sister to Chicago, and I knew where to go and knew what to do just because I had navigated and been navigating that realm for so long. And it's so valuable on a million different levels. How do I say, hey Ruby, this is the number 4 bus and you got a ticket down here, and if the guy shows you his wiener, you call the, it's like,
right. Is it it's got to be enough to just tell her everything, because God forbid she has to experience like a terrible situation,
Yeah, I think like I'm just gonna bring all my kids and we're gonna go downtown a lot and we're gonna navigate talking to homeless people and navigate being in the city, and I would never ever ever want to shelter them away from that.
Them. You don't get to hide. You don't get an opulent curtain to hide from. To hide in. That's true. I mean, that makes me think of Siddhartha Gautama, who became the Buddha. He was a prince, and his father, or whoever was his keeper, was shielding sickness, death, aging, and all of the terrible things about life, suffering. He was being shielded from that being a fact of life. And when he was able to leave his handlers and see like someone who was old and dying, then he learned like, oh shit, like this is what life is. Everything, everywhere, everyone is suffering. And that's just this existence.
You know what's also so important too, which I never liked, which is every time my mother-in-law is like, why don't you move back to Minnesota? I distinctly am like, there are no friend groups to choose from. Thinking about, Lucas went to high school in Baltimore. I went to high school in Columbia Heights, which is like inner city Minneapolis. And there was a little bit more there was obviously way more diversity. Your child needs to have a fucking slew of choices, not like two, not like cool and not cool, which is like a big suburban.
Yeah,
because I also
like the in crowd.
Yeah, like I also went to I got a science scholarship to go to a Catholic school for 1 year. You were cool or you weren't cool. That's it. Or there's like 3, and it's like, dude, there needs to be like 12. Because if that's the culture they're getting pulled into, and they gotta choose.
Yeah. Well, what was your experience with friends in middle school and stuff?
What kind of friends?
I remember moving, because we moved like in the middle of 4th grade or so. And I remember just like hanging out with the people who lived in my neighborhood, and it happened to be my friend JD.
Neighborhoods are good, you know.
Yeah.
Wait, did you live in the city, or where did you?
It was like it's hard to describe. It was rural, but it was like a townhouse association. But yeah, there were a lot of bad kids in there because it's like lower income. And I guess I've been really blessed with having really, really good friends throughout my life. I don't know that I've ever really signed up to be a part of anything that led me astray.
Neither did I just didn't have a lot of friends, but you found your one. You know, I was like into emo shit, and you know, hung out with the metal kids and whatever. So but
we were definitely the freaks and geeks.
Yeah, but there were I remember finding the most people at the inner city schools, the least amount of people in the suburban school.
Right.
And then I went to an art school, and I just like did not vibe there at all. Because
who were they?
At the art school?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like suddenly it's like the freak show on display, and everybody's trying to be the freakiest. And you're like, cool. There, obviously, I had a couple good friends there, but it was just like a fuck you. I was always like, fuck you guys. Didn't matter if they were open arms and smart and funny and cool. I wasn't socially prepped enough or confident enough because of my attachment issues with my mom. You know, it was like it was harder to make friends for me.
Yeah. I don't think you have any problems with it now.
No. Well, now I know I'm like, you're a dingleberry, and you're not going to cling to my vibratory essence and bring me down. So bye. You know, now.
Dude, I was thinking about dingleberries yesterday.
Go on.
What if you could collect a celebrity's dingleberries and sort of compress them up with like wildflower seeds, and then like plant celebrities' dingleberries and have their poop fertilize the flowers?
Why a celebrity? I feel like I would just be swindled, right? Like,
right, this is somebody's
this is Mark Hoppus's turd. I'm like, no, it's not.
Because I was thinking about a particular celebrity that I have been
that you wiped.
Just we
wiped
I went
each
to his
other's
house, and there was like a pair of scissors on the counter, and he was like, haha, I use that to trim my dingleberries. And I thought that was hilarious, and I was thinking about
when
that.
I hear the word trim my dingleberry, I picture like hemorrhoids, and I'm like, ow. I don't picture
don't trim
poop.
your hemorrhoids.
I don't picture poop. I picture things that need to be removed.
I picture just a hairy butthole.
And they just cut it. Cut around it.
You just cut your poop hair out. Isn't that what dingleberries are?
Yes.
Poop that gets stuck in the hair?
I've never witnessed one, but I'm sure it's
I've never seen one in real life. And I want to believe that they
I want to
exist.
believe. I'm just going to start writing all the merch down. I want to know if anyone would wear a Ma Pod shirt.
Dude.
Because I think we can screen print them ourselves.
Hell yeah.
And, but I want it to be really fucking funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We will begin our brainstorm. Begin the brainstorm for the merch.
Maybe we'll do a little limited run. Just do a couple.
I think that'd be cool.
See what happens.
I want to do rubbish merch too, but I want it to have like a secondhand, thrifted up kind of quality.
I was thinking about this for you because that sounds really hard.
I know.
And almost impossible. I was like, you should source from a company that you like.
Yeah, like an ethical kind of company.
Yeah, or I'm always looking for companies that hire convicts. That
that's
employ,
good.
like the Innocence Project, they make shirts and they have only hire ex-cons. So I like to buy shirts from them because it's giving someone a job, and you'll get a little card about the person. You know, that way you don't have to try to find the thing and then upcycle you can still upcycle stuff for sure. But I was thinking, with how successful your stickers were, it's like, we'll get a place that you like and a place that you feel good supporting, and then go from there.
I dig that idea too. I just feel like it would be closer to my kind of ethos if I converted something, you know?
But then only sold one of it?
Yeah, I don't know. Sell it for $45. There's only one of these, and that's what makes it so special. I don't know. I think that anything and everything is possible. And
or you could get a patch maybe and put it on stuff that
that'd be cool.
You could iron it on different. You could iron it on anything.
That's how you make rubbish merch. You just fucking
patch,
slap a thing on it.
Yeah,
that's cool. Is the shirt like purple or pink or green? What is the shirt? Do you envision anything about it?
I do envision it being vibrant. Yeah. I like all those colors that you said.
Cool. It'll come out and everybody will be vying for them.
I just like, it's at that point where I'm like, oh, let's make stuff. Yeah, make stuff.
Spread our influence.
Let's spread our Dingleberry seeds. If you would like to purchase one of our Dingleberries, we could start a Dingleberry Patreon.
I have to grow some more butt hair.
Does anybody have
Rogaine for my butt?
Maybe you could use like eyelash serum.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get started on that right away. I don't know that you can make dingleberries without butt hair.
I suppose it needs something to cling on to.
Exactly.
Oh.
That's why there's the dingle aspect, because it's like...
It's not like there is a magnetic essence. It must have hair to cling to.
The anatomy of the dingleberry.
I need to talk to somebody with a hairy butthole.
Can anybody vouch for
so
their buttholes?
Poop.
So, like, we have questions. Like, we've talked about those people who don't touch their buttholes before on this podcast.
Oh, have
like
we?
Men who are so toxically afraid of being gay or being like feeling things, they just don't wipe their butt or wash their butt. And you didn't believe that they exist. I don't know that we have evidence that they do.
I'm sure there's a few.
Yeah, this is coming from Gabe and Ellen. They're pretty well versed in information, I guess. I don't know if they've ever met anybody who doesn't wipe their butt.
Let us know if you don't wipe your butt.
We want to know.
This
is the hard-hitting stuff.
Yeah, I feel bad for anybody who wants to ask us about like societal
serious stuff. Well, we do that. We do it all, you know. Berto emailed us an article to read. Have not read it yet, but I feel like I read it like 10 years ago, maybe. It was written in 1999 about the agriculture thing. Thanks, Berto. And then we didn't have any other questions come through.
Think of if you could Fifth Element style produce food utilizing 3D printing, lab grown
meat.
All right, it's so hard to fathom stuff that doesn't exist sometimes. But it's like, think of all the land.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you've ever driven from Texas to Minnesota, there's nothing and there's no one and it's all farmland. So it would be really interesting to think of a different, like we would have so much more
new
space.
Society.
We'd have so much more space.
Well, it seems like I saw something in a video that was like a projection. Like, I don't know if it was real or fake. It was like a new city. I think it was called The Line or something.
I saw that. thing that
in
looks
Saudi
like birds would
Arabia,
just fly into
or
it?
was it in the UAE? I forget. Or Dubai. But so it seems like we're gonna have to build vertically to make everything easier to access. Because like if you don't want to go driving your car to everywhere, everything would need to be closer. And you can't make things closer when you have so much of it unless you start to stack.
Yeah. Oh, I also just, there's no planning. Then you bring in like the automotive thing and streets and how much all of that takes up space and how much money that is, and not being able, people don't want to think of like, imagine a really cool pod that is available 24/7 and gets to you faster than anything, and you don't have to pay for it, and it shows up at your house so you can go in it and then go anywhere.
Well, it just makes me think of like Minority Report
And eat wine and cheese and then drive home.
Tom Cruise
and then
zipping around and the little thingy, the self-piloted cars.
Or put it all underground.
Yeah, that makes me think of Raccoon City, where fucking Resident Evil happens, because they have like the hive or whatever, all that underground lab stuff. It'd be scary to get trapped in there.
Just for traveling, you'd live up on the ground.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But
what about a toilet you could flush yourself in and then wind up 1,600 miles away in 30 minutes?
How could your body sustain that motion?
You'd have to wear a massive helmet. That would... The rest of you would perish, but your head and brain would make it.
Got it. That's all you need.
The human turd transit system.
Flush me.
Yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Flush me.
Flush me. I'm ready to go.